Even the toughest get choked up. Get ready to find out why. Christopher Willars goes by life, but he was sentenced to 144 years for being a driver in a robbery that involved a BB gun when he was 19 years old. He served nearly 17 years in prison. Now a principal, he serves as a positive force in the community. This episode is brought to you by Fatal Perception, my novel, found on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. I'm Terrence Hardge, and welcome to Heart to Hearts. Why do you go by the name Life?
Oh man, in prison I was a hard-headed knucklehead, put the fire off fighter. In short, just like those typical like old school prison movies, I had some good brothers, older brothers kind of pull up on me one day. And the reason they pulled up on me was because I had influence. Like I was one of those, I used to get along with everybody and it trickled over into prison. At the time I was a gang leader, I had influence and I was leading a lot of brothers the wrong way. And I had two brothers, one by the name of Poetic Life of Law. He was a 5%er, Nation of Gods and Earths, which is just a school of thought or a culture. You can just research it, but it just basically teaches Black and brown people to value themselves and the history that who they are. And then Brother Willie pulled up on me with him as well, and he was the Nation of Islam. Brother Willie inside the prison was the minister in there for basically the top dog, and Brother Willie was about 6'5", and you know what I'm saying, dark as night, and pulled up on me and said, "You don't even know who you is," just like that. Which I just told him that I imitated him 2 days ago when we were on the phone, but he challenged me, and the other brother challenged me, and when they said that, they were like, "You don't even know who you are." I looked at him like, "Yo, y'all, who y'all talking to? Y'all crazy." And then they walked off, and then I got to thinking about it. And next thing I know, they had me reading books, you know, and I don't know, learning and working out, and not for nothing, learning how to be a man. So the name Life, it got given to me by my big brother because I got knowledge of self in there with the 5%ers, which again, I just got to be clear because people are like, that's a racist group. No, it's not anti-black, or we're not, excuse me, not pro-black or anti-white. We're pro-righteousness, anti-establishment. You know what I'm saying? We don't like negativity. That's it. But they gave me that name in there, and he gave me that name because I ran my mouth. I used to be in there everywhere. I used to not let guys be depressed in there. I used to get in there and be talking crap to them. I was just that guy, you know,
Yeah.
in prison. You know, I get the cracking jokes on the COs. I didn't care. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But at the same time, I was always somebody that was trying to help people. So they was just like, bro, you bring life, you know, everywhere you go. So yeah, just started running with it. And then that's what everybody called me for years now, you know, and then family, and it just transferred over because it's a positive thing. So yeah,
Yeah, I like it. I really like it. You
thank
mentioned the Nation of Islam, and I saw another post you made about a church service there where there were only a
you.
few
Yeah, I'm
people. You
glad.
kind of got involved with that. And
Yeah.
can you talk to about that? I think you kind of stirred up some extra people to come to the service.
Yeah. So I'm glad you asked that question. I am a saved Jesus died for my sins, but I had a journey and I'm glad I did. You know, I went through these different chapters in my life, but that's what enables me or allows me to be able to connect with different people from different walks of life. I know some of the same languages that they speak, so to say. But yeah, the church situation, towards the end of my bid, they sent me on a level one. It's like a road camp. I wasn't even supposed to be on a level one. They had told me for years, you're never gonna go to a level one, but they moved me one day. But I wasn't allowed off the camp. It was a work camp, and I had to stay on the camp while everybody else was able to leave. So whenever they would call programs in there, because there was barely anything to do there, and I was stuck in a building all day, I'd want to go. So I noticed they every time they called church though, only like two or three people would go. And at the time, there's like I don't know, about 150 people in the building altogether, give or take. And I found that really peculiar because I was like on a Sunday, I said that's crazy. So I went in there one time for church call when they called it. It was the same two or three guys, and actually I went in there because I was bored, and then I got to arguing with the guys, but it wasn't like, we weren't arguing, but I was like, man, more people supposed to be in church. This is crazy. We need God. I don't even know where I was going. And then we were in the cafeteria because that's where the church service is at. And the next thing you know, before the end of that day, there was like 5 or 6 people. And I was just running my mouth. And then they asked me to come back. They're like, man, just come and do the same thing. Just run, just read out the Bible next time. And if you need, and I didn't know enough about the Bible, but I knew Jesus died for my sins. I knew that. And I had an older brother there that he did know about the Bible. He'd sit down with me and he'd get in the concordance and point things out. And I go in there Sunday and I do the best that I could do. And it weren't me though. I know it weren't me, but next thing I know, it was like 40 or 50 of us in there.
Wow.
And yeah, and then next thing you know, they were sending the COs in there to investigate me because they swore that I was in there recruiting gang members or I was in there trying to cause an uprising. But we went from 2 or 3 members to a church with a choir, ushers. Like we really made it a thing in there. Um, and yeah, it was cool, man. Some of those COs, they when we did altar calls, some of them same ones that came in there to be nosy, I'm called nosy, see what we was doing, ended up being saved. So
Wow.
hey man, we whatever it takes, I guess.
That's that's awesome, man. That's inspired. I'm a believer too. I accept Jesus into my heart, man. And it's just so weird to watch a lot of people because sometimes people may never see a cell, but people may be physically free, but totally imprisoned in their minds, man. So
Yeah,
that
most
that's
definitely.
it's really inspiring. Can you tell us about your school, my brother?
Oh yeah, man. So yeah, our school, Lasting Layers of Beauty Institute, it is a vocational school in Tucker, Georgia. And we have multiple programs. We have master cosmetology, esthetician, nail technology, hair design, and instructors programs. We opened 2/22/22 and had 4 graduations, and we got a 100% graduation rate, which
That's awesome.
I'm definitely, we're trying to keep that alive and fight forward with that. Um, I don't know, like in short, the school was my wife's dream. She had already been a licensed master cosmetologist. She was in school to become an instructor. Um, and I went to school to become a barber, not because I wanted to become a barber, but I just wanted to impress her and get her to marry me. And that was really it. And I just being honest. And it's funny because it worked out, I had made a decision to support her dream first because you got to be strategic in marriage and you got to take your ego out and understand,
That's
marriage
true.
is business too,
Yeah.
y'all, just so you know. But um, we found a path of success with it and we poured out everything that we could, that including down to our last dime. We had ran out of money, like a month before we opened, but two first generation entrepreneurs, one from Chicago, one from 7 Mile, Detroit. Hey, we just went at it. We just went. We figured it out. We focused on instilling a good culture in there. We went against what everybody begged us not to do, and we lowered our tuition. We purposely to the lowest in Atlanta, all the way to 125 a week. Just because we know everything's expensive as heck, and we wanted to give our students an opportunity to graduate debt free.
Yeah.
So we're able to, provide those opportunities. And then also, I want to say one thing that's unique about our school that I'm proud of is not only we got like the world's greatest staff, but we teach more than just beauty curriculum. We teach financial literacy. We teach
Wow.
business 101. We teach whatever you want to teach. If we don't teach it, we'll find somebody to come in there and at least teach it for a day or a couple hours. So yeah.
Like one thing that I thought was really meaningful about your school, I saw that one student said it was like her second home. Um,
Yeah.
it,
Oh
it's
man.
you all really connect with the people that are there. Really can are they young adults that come or
Not everybody. Not everybody. Youngest is 17,
Hmm,
but very much a family. And all age all the way up. But I can tell you, it's a household in there. It's man, we have very real moments. and we figure it out and we press forward as not just as staff or just as students, but together. I facilitate an environment where the students have a voice just as much as the staff do. You know, they
Yeah.
know I'm there to protect the educational goals.
Right.
Um, and I'm also the guy that stands up there in front, the class body and say, "Hey, we messed up this week right here, but we're gonna get it right. Thank you for pointing that out." So accountability is in the building, and people know that they can have conversation and transparency. And then because of the work that I do, and the students know it, for the students that are going through, I call heavier things, I'm able to have conversations.
Mm.
Oftentimes, conversations come to me, um, and then sometimes, man, I've had, I can speak about it, but I've had situations where one of my students got assaulted and the police called me. You know,
Mm.
they said, who do we need to call? And instead of calling her father or her parents, it was Mr. Chris. So, just working. That's all.
Yeah. So,
Y'all gonna give me, hey, got me tearing up over here.
oh, no worries. So life, I have
Real
to
though,
ask,
man. It's real.
yeah. And that's a blessing, man. That is a blessing. Man, were you initially hesitant to tell your students that you were incarcerated?
Yeah, man. I was extremely hesitant. Hesitant to the point that I had jumped on TikTok, went viral, and then just jumped off social media again because I was like, I don't want to mess the school up, And my message was positive. Like to this day, it has always been the same thing. I've just been trying to educate people about, but I was like, I don't want to bring the two together. And then I had started going viral on TikTok. One of the posts like hit like 6 million views or something. I don't know what it was. And the news reached out and they're like, we want to do a story on the school from prison to principal. And as a business owner, your first 2 years, so you can get your business in news in a positive light, you need to do that because
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, you know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I was placed in a situation where it was like, all right, it's time. You know, my wife had always said like, don't hide. There's no need to hide. Like, just be who you are.
It's
But I was
beautiful.
still hesitant. But the day came where I kind of had to go in there and tell all the students. I called all. I made this. Hey, I need everybody to come to the floor. I remember I was sweating and everything. I came out there because the news was getting. I had to tell them, and I said, "Hey guys, I got something to tell you." And one of the students was like, "Mr. Chris, we already know." And she held her phone up. She's like, "We've been following you." And I was like, "Man, I'm getting up out of here." And everybody was laughing. We kept it going. But it was good when we broke the ice officially because that's when the real conversations in the school began. That's when they started to come with the stuff that they going through. It
Yeah.
was no they knew they no longer had to walk around in the school as students often do with a certain type of face or posture. Because now, hey, my principal, well, executive director, because people are like, there's no principals. I just use the term principal, y'all, because executive director is super formal to me. But once your executive director has been in prison for 17 years, you come as you are for sure.
Right.
You come as
Absolutely.
ain't no need. I ain't gonna judge you.
Man, that is awesome. That's so inspiring. Life, what can people do to make things better? Not only for loved ones who may be locked up and incarcerated, what can people do?
Just get involved. And if you don't know how to get involved, get connected. There's a network of advocates, organizations, activists, organizers, believe it or not, very similar to the civil rights movement of the 60s. We may look different, we may not be as pronounced but you have to understand it may look like it was a million people in the civil rights movement back then, but it wasn't. It was a few people. It just looks that way now.
Yeah.
So find us. You know what I'm saying? If you see my shirt, just look the Life Unit Inc. I'm connected to organizations nationally. Um, for everything that I do, what I do is I get involved politically and I go and I build coalitions and I help build voter bases from the inside out from prisons because statistics and data says that 1 out of every 2 people in this country is impacted by incarceration. So you
Mhm.
should be concerned. And if you're somebody that says, hey, I don't care about those people that are locked up. Well, you should care because you should want them to be rehabilitated because the majority are returning to a community near you.
That's
So
right.
you should want them better. You should want them with better mental health, faculties in place. You should want them with financial literacy. You should want them with job opportunities. So get involved. Find us if you don't know how, and just start to be a voice.
Where can
Um,
people follow you? Where can they support?
yeah, you can find me everywhere. Christopher Life Willers. If you want to just see my social media stuff, my more personal stuff is, any of my seminar series, anything like that coming up, just Christopher Life Willers. And if you want to see what my organization's doing, my 501(c)(3), if you want to get connected to us, see what we have going on, see how you can support or get in one of our programs, whatever, just go to thelifeunit.org. Or you can check out the Life Unit Inc. Facebook or IG. You can get a lot of information there as well.
Well, I really want to thank you for coming on Life. This show is one that's dedicated to trying to bring hope to situations that feel destitute, to trying to understand people that come from different backgrounds. And so I just want to say thank you for joining us, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
All right. My friends, go spread joy with a contagious smile, and a hug doesn't hurt. You never know whose life you might be changing or whose heart you might be healing. With my special guest, Life, thank you for joining us.
Nice having me. Thank you. Thank you.